I wanted to ask Bob, with all the the money that the bankers wanted there, that they were pushing for, and they got, they're using that money, part of it, to hold gold down and bring the stock market up. Isn't that correct?
Yes, it is, and I'll tell you how that works. First of all, there's 21 dealers who work both for the Fed and the Treasury in the marketplace. They're primary dealers, and they're all the big brokerage houses. And they have a conference call every morning at 7:30 Eastern Standard Time, and all of the firms are given their marching orders, and they're told how much money they've got at their disposal.
Hold that thought. We'll be right back. Dr. Stan, and we've got Bob Chapman from the International Forecast. We have George calling us from Toronto. Our telephone number here, if you'd like to call in, is 1-888-24-LIBERTY. 1-888-24-LIBERTY or 464-8295. George was asking if they manipulate the price of gold and silver, and Bob was saying, of course they manipulate the price of gold and silver. They're manipulating the price of everything. You've got a group of elitists who want to try to hold this thing together a little bit longer until they can collapse the whole thing, and when they do, they'll collapse suddenly the markets here. They'll impoverish our people. They'll collapse the insurance company, the pension funds, the money market, the bank accounts. And one of the days we're going to suddenly say, yeah, you've got your money guaranteed by the Federal Deposit Insurance Company, and we're going to pay you back in dollars. Of course, it's going to take you $1,000 to buy a loaf of bread, but that's all right. We would never lie to the American people. We're going to give you that $1,000 back, just like you put it in the bank. You have to understand that they are in the process of intentionally undermining and destroying the value of our currency. And as Alan Greenspan said so well in his book, The Age of Turbulence, there's no better way to destroy a nation than to destroy the value of their currency. Alan Greenspan understood that. And, of course, people say, well, it's Obama's fault. Well, Obama is simply a figurehead for the Trilateral Commission. The Trilateral Commission and the Brotherhood of Darkness control the Bush administration, and the Clinton administration before that. They control Obama's administration today. Every president and or vice president of the United States between 1976 and the year 2008 was a member of the Trilateral Commission. Do you honestly believe that happened by accident? Before we go on, George, please hang on there. But I want Bob to give his address, telephone number, tell people how they can get a copy of the International Forecasting.
Well, the forecast is about business, finance, economic, social, political issues all over the world. We have an email edition that goes out on Wednesdays and Saturdays. Runs about 35 or 40 pages each time. And we have a hard copy for those who are not on the Internet, and that goes out twice a month. If you'd like a free introductory copy, you can go to our site, theinternationalforecaster.com. Theinternational, FORECASTER.com. Or you can email us at bob@intforecaster.com. bob@intforecaster.com. Or you can call toll-free 800-375-4188. 800-375-4188.
All right, and all I can say is I read the International Forecaster twice a week. I look forward to it, and when it doesn't come, I immediately email Bob to ask why not. Well, we've got George on the line. George, do you have anything else you wanted to ask?
No, I just wanted Bob to finish up his answer to my last question about what might be the catalyst that would bring all this ahead.
I think the catalyst is going to be the dollar, and that's number one. The dollar should go, it's 79 approximately right now on the USDX, and it should go to 71.18, which is support, and that's where it went a couple of years ago. And I think this will happen by the end of October, if not by the end of the year. And that's going to cause problems big ones, because foreigners, particularly businessmen, will not want to take dollars, and so it's going to really inhibit trade. I think the swine flu inoculations is going to cause all kinds of havoc. People do not want to take those shots, whether the WHO says so or not. And my guess is if they're going to do that, they probably are going to have to take people off to internment camps. And they'll do that on the ruse that they're quarantining them in a epidemic that doesn't exist. And so these things could be catalysts. We could have a beta test whereby the government has a very short bank holiday to see what people will do as a reaction. That could be a catalyst. You could have the passage of this euthanasia bill, known as health reform, or cap and trade. That could start people going. The United States is a tinderbox right now. People have had it, and they're starting to do something about it, and they're listening to Dr. Stan and many other programs like this. Well, not enough, actually. But anyway, the point is that they're listening, they're looking, they're seeking. I mean, I'm getting on radio. I did 5 programs earlier today on Fox, ABC, NBC, and CBS. And why they let me on, I'll never know. But I'm getting on, and I'm telling them the same thing I'm telling you tonight. And so those things can be catalysts. Another thing is the initiation, and I think this will come later when the dollar collapses. I think you'll see another war, a bigger, wider war, perhaps with Iran. I think that's what they're saving it for. And so there's plenty of possible catalysts. I left out the derivative bomb, $1.25 quadrillion worth of derivatives. Only 5% have to go bad and the whole system collapses.
Does that answer your question, George?
Very, very thoroughly. Thank you so much, Dr. Stan and Bob.
I would just say there's an article in Foreign Affairs maybe a couple of months ago that said that, if we did have this worldwide epidemic and they begin to quarantine nations, why, of course, it shut down travel and trade, and that could be a catalyst for a worldwide collapse. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens. Let's go to Angie calling from Arizona. Hi, Angie. How are you doing?
Oh, hi, Dr. Stan. Hi, Bob. Yes, I'm curious to know regarding the health insurance, how if people are unemployed, how are they going to be able to pay for their health insurance? What will happen to these people?
They go on Medicaid.
I thought it was.
They've already got 40 million people on Medicaid. They'll probably go up to 120 million. Who knows? It's only going to cost $1 trillion a year.
Remember, Angie, before we had all these socialist programs, every county in the United States had a county hospital where people who didn't have any money could go and get good medical care. That's where I was raised as a young doctor, working in county hospitals, taking care of people who didn't have any health insurance. And the good doctors were making enough money they could go out and they could help. And I saw an awful lot of them, be out there 1 or 2 days a week and nights, not getting paid a cent. They did it to help. Well, they've destroyed that system. They didn't want an alternative. They want everybody under the government control so we can have forced euthanasia. Anything else, Angie?
Forced euthanasia.
Forced euthanasia. Well, they're going to have compulsory government counseling. Government counselors got to come around every 5 years to tell you how to do yourself in. That's in the Obama health care bill. Anything else?
Well, another thing, my mother, she gets a flu shot every year.
Well, you tell her to quit taking them because they got mercury in them, they got aluminum in them, and you certainly don't want to let her take this other vaccine because that's going to have the squalene in it. If you love your mother, you get the information that we have to her, okay?
Okay. You know what, though? Can you explain to me the euthanasia? I don't understand.
Basically, it's the compulsory counseling. And every 5 years, according to the Obama health care bill, you will have to allow the government counselors to come to your home to explain to you how to kill yourself, by not taking food or water, or whatever other technique you want to every 5 years. I got to tell you that, because after all, when you get to a certain age in life, why is life really worth living? That, unfortunately, is one of the stipulations. My understanding is, have you heard that, Bob?
Well, that's absolutely true.
And this is what
But they're also going to withhold treatment for people who have long-term chronic diseases and people who have a disease that will end their life within a year. They want to get rid of them because 75% of the medical costs that are incurred in the last year and a half of life.